Guests now are on a mission to save Florida's spicy signature pepper. I'm joined now by Datil pepper farmer slash advocate Scott Murray and Troy Main. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. So, you gentlemen own Mayhem Datil Pepper Farm. I'm guessing that's in St. Johns County, St. Augustine area.
Putnam County, actually in Pomona Park, south of Palatka.
Okay, so why are you trying to rescue the datil? You've got this Save the Datil gear on. Why is it imperiled?
So my best friend Scott made a family recipe years ago, and I fell in love with it and could not buy peppers. Nobody sold them. So we found heirloom plants and started growing them ourselves. And we grew to where we were growing more peppers than we needed, and other people asked for more peppers, and couldn't believe nobody was still selling these peppers or growing them anywhere. And because they're extremely hard to grow, they're very finicky. And so we picked up the motto of save the datil pepper because there are no commercial datil pepper growers out there. There's very few of us out there to do this. And because it's all hands-on, there's not really much automation about it whatsoever. And it's just a constant battle to make this pepper at what it should be.
And yet there is a lot of celebration around the pepper. There was actually a bar for a while in St. Johns County, datil peppers. Mayday has a datil ice cream. Bog Brewing Company has a smoked datil ale. And so, I mean, it doesn't need rescuing in terms of its reputation, Scott, so much.
In this area, it really doesn't. I'm part of the Menorcan community. Good morning, cousins. So I grew up having datil pepper product, hot sauce mainly on the table in almost every meal. And when we started doing this, a lot of the older generation had passed on and there wasn't as many people growing the peppers. And it became, kind of sad that we just couldn't go grab some datil peppers. So we said, not enough people know how amazing the flavor of this thing is and how versatile it is. You said, there's beer, there's ice cream, there's all types of things you can do with it, and nobody knows about it. And it is kind of quintessentially Florida as much as a key lime or an orange or, anything else that you think of. So we want to make it part of that whole heritage of the culinary part of Florida.
And you're actually looking to have it named as kind of the signature pepper of the state. Is that right?
We are. And actually, the idea for that came from a story I heard on NPR. A while back, they talked about the state of New Mexico actually has an official state smell, and
Wow.
It is the smell of roasting hatch chilies. And I thought, that's pretty cool. Why don't we have that for the datil pepper? I mean, nobody outside of Florida really grows a datil pepper. Most people have never even heard of it outside of Florida. So I think giving it that status would go a long way to protecting the overall heritage of it and just, getting the name out there. The more people know about it, every time somebody tries it, I think we get more and more people that are like, wow, I've never heard of this. I'm glad you did this.
And the lore of the pepper, not really known, but believed to have come over with your ancestors, the Menorcans, who came from the island of Minorca, we should say, to St. Augustine area.
Exactly. And it was a real, a varied group of people from, Greece and other countries that kind of met up in Minorca and came over. But the history of the datil pepper it's got a lot of mythology around it. And Troy and I even disagree about it. I personally believe that it is a sort of a hybrid of peppers that was picked up through the slave trade and brought to Florida through the Caribbean. We peppers like the fatale and some other things, habaneros. They're all part of the same pepper family. Troy has a different idea, but I think that's part of the fun.
I think it's tied in also to the Menorcans. I believe that when General Turnbull come through the Caribbean to pick up supplies to come to New Smyrna Beach, I think they picked up the Scotch bonnet pepper, which was originally brought over, like Scott said, from the South Africa for the fatale. And I believe that the Menorcans brought the Scotch bonnet pepper over, and they started creating and changing pollinators. The sun azimuth, all these changes happened and created what the datil pepper is today, because there is no record of datil peppers being in Minorca.
So you brought some peppers with you. You brought some of the hot sauce that you made with you. We're going to show them on the screen here. We'll get a shot of that. But these are peppers. They're sweet. They are hot, though.
They are hot.
What do you compare them to in terms of heat?
They're about 325,000 on a Scoville unit scale, which is just slightly underneath the habanero. Nothing like a ghost pepper or some of the crazies out there that burn your brains out for days on end. It's more about the flavor. It's got such a unique, sweet, fruity flavor that's unlike any other pepper out there.
And they really, if you ask somebody, fruity, sweet, citrusy, it's datil. People who are familiar with it, it's just that datil smell, that datil flavor that is really unique.
Well, I'm going to say there was a columnist for the St. Augustine Record described it as a flavor unlike any other pepper I've tasted. It reminds me of fruit punch and turpentine. So, like, maybe not.
I don't know about the turpentine
Turpentine.
part, but
All right. So, you've got a festival coming up to celebrate the pepper. Just tell us about it briefly if you can.
So the Datil Pepper Festival used to be held in St. Augustine for years, long time. We loved the festival. It was very small, but a lot of people attended that. And over the time, after COVID and so on and so forth, they just stopped having it. And so for the last 3 to 4 years, Scott and I have been mulling around trying to figure out how to do this. And we got with the mayor in Palatka and asked her for her help. And Robbie, bent over backwards and helped us get this going. And Datil Fest is going to happen on October 26th this year.
9 to 8 p.m. on the riverfront in Palatka.
Yeah, live music, great kid zone. It's going to be amazing.
Well, Troy, Maine, Scott Murray, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Have a great festival.
Thanks
thank
for
you
having
very
us.
much. Thanks for having us.